Good afternoon. Please excuse the new headgear accessories. I just want to check that you can hear me. If you can hear me, click the like or the love, send through some love. Welcome to today's brand new series. I'm going to do a series on anxiety, and it affects so many people, 1 in 4 people around the world. And hi Brenda, great to see you here. And we have someone else. Hello. Wonderful to have you here. Can you hear me? Can you just tell me if you can hear me? Because this is a new headset that I've had to use today. Thank you. Oh, that's good. Have you all grabbed your coffee for today? Well, you might not want coffee because I believe overseas it's a bit chilly today. Okay, so we're going to do a series on anxiety because it affects so many of us and it doesn't get talked about very often at all, okay? And we really need to change that because people are hiding behind closed doors and it's crippling their lives. And thanks, Brenda. I really appreciate that you let me know. It's crippling their lives and they can't tell anyone. They feel they can't tell anyone. They feel that there's no way to change the situation. And we really need to be able to help people feel comfortable to talk about it. And that's why the meme goes around on Facebook and social media about, don't judge someone's life by what's happening on the outside because you can't see what's happening on the inside. And mental health, anxiety, it's definitely one of those things that people can't see it, and unless you've experienced it, you have zero idea of how crippling it can be. So just to begin today, I want to give you a visual. Let's see if it'll come up here. Okay, I want to give you this visual because I found a 3D one of it. Because when we do I forgot to get our soul out today. That's funny, isn't it? I've just turned up without my soul today. Is that okay? I joke. Okay. Now, so if you look on the screen and then you get to see the 3D version of body. So it's earth up there, but look at the outside layer as body. Then we're going into the layers of soul, spirit, and Holy Spirit, okay? The pure part of us. When you can see it in 3D, it gives us a chance to imagine it in 3D within us. Now, and when I say what I'm about to say next, I want you to be very, very clear, especially if you're listening on replay and don't get a chance to comment at the same time. What I'm about to tell you is very important for a couple of reasons. It's important that you don't use it as a takeaway and say to somebody with anxiety, oh, you've just got stress, because it's not the truth. And it's important that you use it as a takeaway of a deeper understanding of something that's even deeper than what I'm going to say to you, okay? Very, very important. Brenda says, you just took out the countries that are all in your 3D graphic. That could work. No more war. Okay, but in all seriousness, what I'm about to share with you is going to be helpful for everybody to understand anxiety in a practical manner, but it goes beyond the practical. So if you look at this does it back to front, remember? So if you look at I'll get my screen yet. Okay, you're not going to see my finger. So if you look over at the globe and you imagine that on the outside, so around the outside are all our senses, okay? So the first points of contact with everything in life. So sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. They're all the things that first get affected by the events in our life. And then the rest of it gets absorbed in all the way down to our centre, okay? In various layers, in various ways. And this is why it affects everybody differently. Now, the things that come in that are filled with stress, so any kinds of trauma, etc., or even multiple events over life that are very stressful. They're actually traumatic. And it goes beyond just something that's stressful and you can put down. It's something that deeply affects you. And what deeply affects you doesn't necessarily deeply affect somebody else. This is why we're all different when it comes to it. And as the pressure comes in from the outside, you can imagine that as it gets down to the red bit, okay, spirit, then we end up compacted on the inside of us, because let's face it, our body can only hold so much, our brain can only hold so much, and we know this because once the layer upon layer of trauma and stress and different events all comes together, you find out that you end up with your first panic attack. Now, just to give us some very clear... Oh, I can sit in the middle here. Okay, so anxiety, so somebody who says I'm anxious, they'll be feeling worry, nervousness or unease about something with an uncertain outcome. So the most common one of that is public speaking. I mean, everybody in the world, before they speak publicly for the first time, they would say that they're anxious. Okay, you can't avoid it, it just is. And I know professional people who speak often and they say you still get up and you still have the fear, okay? But it's a different level of fear to when it flips over into the pressure pack of psychiatry. It becomes a nervous disorder marked by excessive uneasiness and apprehension. So it's gone beyond what's considered a norm, and typically with compulsive behaviour or panic attacks. And I can tell you, I still remember the first time. While I've had anxiety all my life, definitely, and, you know, go out perspiring. Anytime I had to do something new, I'd do it. But I didn't know back then that that's what it was. So that's fine. But my first panic attack, when I got tipped over the edge, I still remember the stressful event that tipped me over the edge. I still remember, even after the event, trying to continue to act normally, okay, which is what we do because we're very strong people, okay. You'll find people with anxiety with the multiple layers, we're actually very strong. We're determined and stubborn to continue on no matter what we feel. And anyhow, so at the time, I'd gotten a phone call which just tipped me over the edge. I had a baby in my arm and another child in my other hand, and I just put the phone down and I got in the car and was going to take my son to the shops because, you know, he was getting a bit, what do you call it, not homesick, homebound, because we'd been at home with a brand new baby. We get up the road and next thing you know, I had to pull over because I literally couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe. No matter what I did, I couldn't breathe, and I'm just sitting there crying because I can't breathe and I didn't know what was wrong. We didn't have the internet back then. We didn't have the information we have now, and so on and so forth. And I literally had to disappoint my son and turn around and go home until I could work out what was going on. Now, so we've already looked at key one in order to be able to recognise and identify what's happening with the anxiety, is that we've got layer upon layer upon layer, and then multiple layers coming in from every event that's happened in our life. One event may tip us over, but there will have been multiple events before that we've tried to hold on to, keep control of, keep going, you know, I've got to work, I've got to do this, I've got to make this happen, etc., etc. And so once we recognise that we've got layer upon layer, rather like that old Sara Lee cheesecake ad, did you ever have that? Where it was, in the actual ad, they used to say layer upon layer, and you think, oh, yummy, Sara Lee's cheesecake. But I digress. So we gain a greater awareness of what's happening within inside ourselves, that we've got multiple layers of stress, trauma that are compounding so hard. One of the effects that I used to get all the time was migraines. All the time. No word of a lie. Had to have like 30 milligrams of morphine every third day. They were that bad. So we don't want to do key 2 anymore. And so key 2, we have to begin to acknowledge that we're trying to keep it hidden. I mean, I even read on another social media platform today, somebody was saying, you know, they're in absolute agony from a migraine and suffering, yet they won't talk to their partner about it. And we have to encourage each other to stop doing this. Stop trying to hide what everyone can see is crippling you. They might not know what it is specifically, but it is crippling, okay? Keeping it hidden just makes you more unwell. The choice is yours. Key 3. Now, in order to not keep it hidden anymore, you're going to have to recognise that if you're afraid. You're afraid if you say anything, how people will look at you, what the world will say, how you'll be judged, because we're still in the very early days of mental health being able to be talked about, to be seen as something that is acceptable to be talked about. There are still so many things that people don't want to talk about because they don't know what to do, or they simply don't know how to hold space or say, can you tell me how I can help you? Okay. But for you, while we're in this particular era, you need to acknowledge that you've got the fear of what people will say in order that the strength that you've had all these years to carry on can come forward and you can make a decision that you're going to seek help. Okay? The strength is there and it'll be hard, but balance it out with, does it serve me to keep being afraid to talk to somebody? You know, what am I gaining from not talking about it? And the answer really is you're not gaining anything except you're creating more of a prison in your own life for yourself if you don't talk to somebody about it. Key 4, you're going to use your strength to begin to open up. So one of the first things I did, now this is the first time before I had panic attacks, I actually had postnatal depression with my first child. And it took everything I had to go to the doctor and say I've got postnatal depression, because me being me, I had to work out what was going on before I went to the doctor. I didn't just go and say, oh, well, I've got this, and I've got all these symptoms, etc., etc. I did a whole bunch of research. And when I sat down with him, he said, no, not you. You're so strong. So don't be surprised if people say, no, not you, you're so strong, because you are. You are. You've had to be strong. And now it's time to start taking a step back and opening up instead of keeping everything hidden. Okay? Key 5, have the courage to seek professional help. All right? It does take courage because you don't know if you're going to find somebody who'll understand. If the first person doesn't understand and doesn't connect with you, then you're going to go up, use your strength. You might need to have a sleep after using your strength to have the courage to go and seek help. But sleep you can do, okay? Keep having the courage to seek professional help, okay? Grab a friend and take them with you. Do whatever it is you need to do to get there, but keep going. One of the ladies in our group recently mentioned how she sought professional help again, because over the stages of mental health, you'll seek someone, learn stuff, go and apply it, and then, whatever period of time, you'll go back again, get more information, go and apply it, etc., etc. And the first visit, the professional basically said, oh, leave your spouse, do this, do that. And if a professional ever treats you like that, especially on the first visit, then walk, okay? Because they're not listening to you. They're not hearing you. They're not hearing your story. They're making a judgment over, a whole however many years of experience you've had with your partner, okay? And they're not actually getting to the source of what your problem is. They're only listening to surface stuff. Key 6, from now on, after you've been willing to do these things, you're going to go on a process of self and soul awareness, okay? It is a journey. It is a journey to unlock each layer, but it is doable, okay? That's why I run my course, Awakening Your Soul, because unlocking each layer it's imperative for our good health, for our understanding of where we are today, where we want to go, where we want to be, etc., etc., and so that we don't have to live our lives with anxiety anymore. Okay? Now, if you have any questions or comments, please throw them in down below. I'm happy to come back and answer them, even if you watch on replay. Also, please share and care about the people who are living their life in silence. Okay? There are 1 in 4 people are living their life in silence with mental health. 1 in 4, men and women all around this world. And I truly believe that we need to start to make a difference for the one person. Just if you connect with just one person that you share this with, that over this series begins to be able to have the strength to open up because they know they're not alone anymore, then you will have done a good thing. Okay, I wish you all the best for the rest of your day or evening, and I will be back with part 2 of anxiety tomorrow, and hopefully without big headphones on my head, because I'll find my attachment. Okay, thanks for being with me today, Brenda. It's been wonderful to have you here, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye for now.